Hi, this is Gautam. Welcome back. Okay. So ICICI Prudential Asset Management Company is going public. Okay. So in this video, I will walk you through the AMC business model, how asset management companies like ICICI Prudential, how they make money. Okay, that's one. Second is I'll also walk you through what I believe is the fair valuation of this company. Okay. And I leverage some of the past work that I've done on HDFC AMC. Okay. So anyway, that's point number two. And the third is, okay, I'll also equip with your framework or thinking that you can use to compute the potential return that you could make on ICICI Prudential AMC. Okay. See, this is an education channel. My purpose is not to, let's say, influence your buy or sell recommendation or what have you. Okay. So please bear that in mind. Okay. The idea is just education. Okay. All right. So with that said, let me dive into the video. So now let's understand how AMCs or mutual fund companies they make money. What is the business model at a high level? Okay. See, these mutual fund companies they charge a small fee on the money that they manage. Okay. I'll repeat. They charge a very small fee. Okay. Also called yield on the money that they manage. Okay, right? See, mutual fund companies, no, they incur expenses like sales and marketing, advertising, administrative expenses, and they got to pay themselves salaries as well, right? So all these costs that they incur, okay, in managing and running a mutual fund, they are collectively referred to as TER. Okay, right? So, so, uh, so how do they recover these costs? Okay, they recover these costs by charging a small fee to the customers, okay, on the money that they manage. Okay, like you and I, we invest in a mutual fund. So on the money that we invest, they'll charge a small fee to kind of cover all these costs that I spoke about. Okay. So let me in fact uh, walk you through a very like small example so you kind of understand what I'm saying. All right. Now let me walk you through a very simple example to illustrate the business model. उससे hopefully समझ में आ जाएगा. And this would be a very high level crude example. Okay. So let's say this is year one. ठीक है. And you put 5,000, let's say in an equity mutual fund scheme of ICICI AMC. ठीक है. So you put 5,000 rupees. And let's say the TER, total expense ratio, is 1%. Okay. So how much money do you think ICICI will make on your investment of 5,000? Okay. So it'll be 5,000 times 1%. So ICICI will make 50 rupees, right? In year one. Okay. So now let's say this year two. Okay. Year two, may your 5,000. Okay. In all, this actually this investment is more like 4,950, but not getting into nuances right now. Okay. Let's just keeping it very simple. So let's say now, let's say this is year two. Okay. And the equity, there has been a 10% appreciation in this equity AUM. So this has grown to 5,500. Okay, there's a 10% appreciation. Okay. And let's say the TR is still 1%. अगर 1% TR है, so the money that ICICI will make on this investment is 55. Okay. See, in year two, you did not put any additional money. You did not infuse any additional money. You invested 5,000 in year one, and after that, you did not make any fresh investments. So in year one, ICICI made 50 rupees on your investment. And year two, the same investment grew to by 10%, and then ICICI made 55 rupees on that same investment. Now, let's say this is year three. Again, you as a customer, you do not put any additional money. And let's say again कि there is a 10% appreciation. Okay? तो क्या होगा इसमें this will grow by what 6050, right? अगर 10% almost हाँ इतने से grow करेगा. Again, let's say the TR is 1%. Okay? So the money that ICICI will make on your investment is 60.5 rupees. Okay? So this is a very simplistic way to think about the business model. कि ICICI will make a small fee every year on your investment which you did in year one. ठीक है. It will keep on making this fee in perpetuity. ठीक है. तो ये business model है at a high level. Okay. Let's move forward. Another thing about the business model which is important for you to understand is कि जो TRs होते हैं ना, these TRs, so equity में you can charge a higher TR. Debt funds में you typically the TRs mandated by SEBI are lower. Okay. And another important point is कि as the size of the AUM increases, as the size of the AUM increases, AUM बड़ा हो जाता है, तो SEBI has mandated कि you bring down your TERs as well, you reduce your TERs as you scale your AUM. You cannot charge the same height TER, okay, as you scale the AUM. ठीक है, so that is something, and it's not only SEBI, this is a mandate by regulators all around the world कि जैसे जैसे AUM का साइज बढ़ता है तो आपको TER रिड्यूस करना है. Okay, and same thing with debt fund, this the other asset class as well. ठीक है, तो ये at a high level, and this is called telescopic pricing कि आपको अपने TRs कम करने हैं. This is called telescopic pricing. Okay, now this is, and why do you think SEBI has mandated कि you need to reduce your TRs with growing AUM? See, because we got to understand this industry has, let me just reduce the size. Okay, this industry has a lot of operating leverage. Okay? What do I mean by operating leverage? Is key in simple terms, key your costs, they do not increase as such with as you scale the AUM. Your costs largely they stay put as you grow the AUM. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Let's understand through a simple example. Let's say a mutual fund company has a scheme in which they manage 2000 CR का AUM they manage, and they pay they have a couple of fund managers, they have some staff, okay, they have some computers, some infrastructure costs that they incur. Okay, now if this when this 2000 CR ka AUM grows to 2 lakh 2 lakhs CR ka AUM, okay, do you think they would incur sizable additional cost? The answer is no. Okay, largely they would more or less incur the same kind of costs, okay, that they incurred when they were managing a 2000 CR AUM. Okay, so the cost that a mutual fund company they incur, okay, they do not increase in proportion, okay, with the growth of the AUM. The cost they largely stay put. Okay, so that's why this industry has a lot of operating leverage कि आपके खर्चे नहीं बढ़ रहे हैं, आपका साइज बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन आपके खर्चे उस हिसाब से नहीं बढ़ रहे हैं जिस हिसाब से आपका साइज बढ़ रहा है. सो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि the profitability of AMCs they ideally increase over time, or they should increase over time. Okay, so that's the reason why सेबी ने क्या बोला है कि you have to reduce your TURs as you grow your AUMs, as your AUMs increase in size, you cannot charge the same TER. Okay, that's what it means. Let's move forward. All right. Now let's get to the second segment. So before we discuss the fair valuation, my view on the fair valuation of ICICI Prudential AMC, I think it's helpful to very quickly take you through the business performance of the key listed players in this space. All right. So let me pull up my spreadsheet real quick. All right. So I've pulled open my spreadsheet. Hope it's visible. Yeah. So in this table, I know there's a whole lot in here. I don't intend to overwhelm you. So it's very easy peasy. Let me take you through it very quickly. So I have the listed players in this space mentioned here. Okay. See, one of the key monitorables in this space, no, is what portion of the assets under management is equity. I'll repeat, what portion of the overall assets under management is equity. Okay. And why it is important? Because equity is the most profitable asset class. इक्विटी में you are allowed to charge a higher TER. आप ज्यादा पैसा कमा सकते हो इक्विटी में. Okay, and that is reflected in the overall yield as well. Okay, so typically how it works is कि the higher the equity you have in your AUM, the higher the yield you make on your overall AUM. तो अगर आप Nippon, sorry, if you look at the Nippon and ABCL, Aditya Birla ka equity as a portion of AUM, it's below 50%. Okay, so Nippon makes around 37 basis points on the AUM, overall AUM they manage. Aditya Birla makes 42 basis points on the AUM that they manage. Okay, HDFC AMC has an equity of well over 60% in their overall AUM. The equity that they have is well over 60%. तो उनका जो yield है is 47 basis point. And ICICI Prudential, although they have a slightly lower equity portion in their AUM, but they have a slightly higher yield. Okay, that is because of the composition of their AUM, because equity is just one of the asset classes. You have debt, you have liquid, you have ETFs as well. Okay, so yield is a function of the composition of AUMs, but typically the thumb rule is कि higher the equity portion, the better it is, because you get to charge a higher yield. ओके, तो दैट इज वाई ये बहुत की मॉनिटरेबल हो जाता है कि कितना इक्विटी है आपके पास। ओके, और एक चीज और है, यू वुड सी दीज हील्स नो, दे टिपिकली रिड्यूस ओवर टाइम। व्हाई दे रिड्यूस? अगर आप इफ यू गो बैक इन टाइम यू वुड सी द हील्स दे ग्रेजुअली रिड्यूस ओवर टाइम। इफ यू रिकॉल, अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ टेलीस्कोपिक प्राइसिंग। Telescopic pricing we discussed. Okay, because of telescopic pricing and also because of increasing competition in this industry, the yields have been coming down over time. A very important point that you should make a note of. And ideally, you should be tracking the overall yields as well. If you track any of the companies in this space, आप उनके yields भी track करो. This is something that we leverage in our valuation as well. Okay? So एक तो ये point हो गया. दूसरा है, if you also look at the equity market share, okay? So ICICI Prudential equity market share is under 14%. HDFC is under 13%, and largely it has been similar levels in the last 3-4 years. Okay? Nippon and the other players have a lower market share. Okay. If you look at the overall market share, okay, see, as of the September ke numbers, na, the overall industry AUM as of September 2025 is around 71,000 billion rupees. Okay. इस इंडस्ट्री AUM में ICICI का market share is 13% and HDFC का is just over 11%. Okay. Again, this is something that we leverage in our valuation. ये again एक और की monitorable है. Okay. In this space, please keep that in mind. Again, at the risk of repetition, I leverage that in the valuation as well. Okay. तो ये हो गया. Another important point is profitability. See, what is it that we discuss? We discuss कि this industry has operating leverage. Business model when we discuss कि this industry has operating leverage. Okay. अगर आप देखो HDFC AMC, the profitability EBITDA has been going up with time. खर्चे बढ़ते नहीं है as scale, so profitability increases as you scale. Okay. HDFC AMC has demonstrated a lot of operating leverage. Okay. And other players also pretty much they have demonstrated some kind of operating leverage as well. Their profitability has also increased pretty much over time. Okay. If I look at the overall profitability, net profitability, okay, HDFC again, largely HDFC का भी overall profitability भी increase हुआ है with time. Okay. In fact, HDFC का जो profitability, net profitability is higher than ICICI Prudential. They are at 61%. ICICI is at 53%. So again, profitability भी HDFC AMC seems to be the most profitable listed player. ठीक है. ऑपरेटिंग लेवरेज अगेन आपको याद रखना है कि ये भी हम लेवरेज करेंगे अपने वैल्यूएशन में. ओके. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट इज ऑफ कोर्स द वैल्यूएशन मल्टीपल. अगर हम पीई मल्टीपल देखें, ओके, आईसीआईसी प्रुडेंशियल का valuation multiple PE is 36. This is what they have requested in their IPO. Sorry. Okay. Now, a lot of people are saying 40 ka multiple, but it's actually 36 if I look at the trailing 12 multiple. So what I've done is I've divided the requested valuation. They are requesting a valuation of 1,07,000. I've divided by the last 12 months, trailing 12 months ke earnings. So it's around 36. If you do the math. Okay. HDFC AMC is trading at 42. So I have the multiples of all the players in this space. Okay. Now with this understanding of the business performance and also the key monitorables, okay, let's use what we have learned and apply it to valuation. ठीक है. See, last year, around the same time frame, I had revalued HDFC AMC. Full disclosure, I am an investor in HDFC AMC. I've been tracking and following this company since more than 4 years now. Okay. So when I revalued it last year around the same time frame, I had valued it at 33 times earnings using my DCF model. Okay. So, and one of the key assumptions that I made in my DCF model of HDFC AMC was key market share, okay, across all the asset classes will largely stay put over the next 10 years. I'll repeat. One of the key assumptions that I had made was that the market share of HDFC AMC will largely stay put over the next 10 years or so. तो वो मेरा की assumption था. उससे the multiple that I got for HDFC AMC was 33 times earnings. मैं एक बार दिखा देता हूं and then I get into how we can use this information for ICICI. Okay. Okay. So in this spreadsheet, if you see, last year around the same time, I had valued HDFC AMC as I was saying at 33 times earnings. ये fair valuation था मेरे हिसाब से. Okay. Okay. And as I said, one of the key assumptions that I had taken one of the key assumptions that I had taken, let me just go वहां पे जहां पे assumption लिए थे मैंने. Okay. One of the key assumptions that I had taken was कि HDFC AMC, if you look at this small table here, कि HDFC AMC का market share जो होगा, okay, over the next 10 years would largely be the same across all the asset classes, be it equity, be it debt, be it liquid and others. तो ये मेरा key assumption, और भी assumptions लिए थे of course मैंने, लेकिन ये मेरा key assumption था. और उस basis में मेरा जो multiple आया HDFC AMC के लिए was 33 times earnings. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same multiple. I'm going to assume कि ICICI Prudential का fair multiple भी same है, which is 33. Okay, and why I'm comfortable making this assumption? Because I'll tell you कि see कि इनका भी equity market share जो है ICICI का, वो भी it's well above 50%. It's pretty close to HDFC AMC. Okay, so without explicitly valuing ICICI Prudential, मैं assume कर ले रहा हूँ कि इनका भी ICICI Prudential का भी pretty much fair valuation 33 है. उससे कम है, ज्यादा है भी हो सकता है, मुझे नहीं पता, मैंने किया नहीं एक्सप्लिसिटली वैल्यूएशन, लेकिन मैं ये सिंपलिस्टिक assumption ले ले रहा हूं. Okay, so they are requesting a multiple of 36. So based upon, if you were to go by my 33 का multiple, then of course it means कि probably the valuation that they're requesting is slightly expensive. Okay, it's certainly reasonably or reasonably valued or slightly expensive. Okay, but anyways, that's just my view. Okay. Now let's get on to the third section of this video. If you're a budding investor interested in learning thorough fundamental analysis and valuation, or if you're an aspiring equity research analyst, financial analyst, or a consultant who's interested in learning these skills to get into such roles, okay, then I have a program suited to your needs. Okay? In my equity research and valuation learning program, I cover quality and well-researched content. I cover diverse industry business models. Okay, and I have a growing community. Okay. So, and I also have the list of topics which I cover, which on the slide, which will help you become a well-rounded, thorough analyst. All right. So get in touch if you interested in learning more details about this program. All right. Thank you. All right. Now I'll proceed to the third section of the video. So I'll equip you with a framework or thinking that you can use to estimate the potential return on ICICI Prudential AMC. Okay. And of course, I'll leverage some of the things that I've spoken about in this video so far in terms of the assumed fair valuation of ICICI, plus of course the some of the points that I made कि what are the key multiples in this space. Okay, तो वो use करके मैं एक potential return estimate करूंगा. Okay, and you can leverage that thinking. Okay, all right. Now let me proceed. All right. So last week I had re-estimated the market size of the mutual fund industry in India. Okay. So not getting into how I did the estimation, I have a detailed LinkedIn post on this topic. So I'll probably link it in the video description. Okay. So I'm not covering key how I estimated the market size. Okay. So, but let me just leverage what the work that I've done. Okay. So according to me, this is what I estimated. कि अभी industry as of 2025, 65,000 billion is the size of the industry. Total AUM in billion. ठीक है. So that will grow to around 3 lakh 30,000 billion 10 years from now. So मैं ये information सीधा leverage करूंगा. So let me just copy and paste it. This information, as I said, let me just paste it here. Okay. So this is the market share. Sorry. This is the market share. This is the market size in INR billion. In INR billion. Okay. Now, ये market size हो गया. Next information that we need is the market share. ICICI का valuation हम कर रहे हैं. ICICI का return compute कर रहे हैं. Sorry. So let's talk through the market. ICICI का market share. Okay. So assumption ले लेते हैं. Assumption ले लेते हैं कि ICICI का market share, see right now ICICI का market share is what? How much? Overall market share is 13.2. So I'm making an assumption कि इनका largely market share same रहता है. Okay. मैं assume करता हूं कि FY30 में भी largely they have the same market share. They have been able to retain the market share. And FY35 also, 10 years out, they have the same market share. That's one of the assumptions. Okay. Now, then what do we need? अब जब हमारे पास ये आ गया है, so now we can, now using the market share information, let's compute key what would be the overall size of the assets managed by ICICI 5 years out from now and 10 years out from now. सो आई जस्ट डू अ सिंपल मल्टीप्लीकेशन. तो मैंने क्या किया है, आई जस्ट मल्टीप्लाइड द मार्केट शेयर विद द टोटल एयूएम साइज. सो नाउ आई हैव द AUM कि कितना बड़ा बन जाएगा AUM. ओके, just let me just make sure that this is visible. Sorry. Okay. So ये हो गया आपका AUM. This is size of the currently अभी जो AUM का size है, that is around 10,000. So what we are saying is कि ICICI का AUM, overall AUM will ICICI का overall AUM will become will double over 5 years, and then again it's going to become four times, more than four times over 10 years. Okay, that is what we are saying एक तरीके से. Okay, now ये तो ICICI का AUM हो गया. Let's also talk about the yield कि ICICI का yield कितना, what is the overall yield. Okay, what we know is right now ICICI का yield is 0.52. That's the yield. Okay, now because there is telescopic pricing in this industry, तो मैं assume कर रहा हूं कि ये assumption है कि probably the AUM will drop to the yield will drop to 47 BPS, 47 basis point. Okay, and then it will drop to 0.42. This is just a blanket assumption based upon कि last historically क्या हुआ है with other players. Okay, so I'm assuming कि the yield drops to 47 basis point and 42 basis point. This is an assumption. Okay, ये assumption है. Okay, you can feel free to challenge that. In fact, I encourage you कि आप भी same calculation करो and you can use other yields whatever you feel like. Okay, what you think as per your understanding of the industries, you can take a higher or lower yield. Okay, now ये हो गया, yield हो गया. So now let's, तो revenue कितना हो जाएगा ICICI का in so what will the revenue? See, revenue would be yield times the overall AUM. Okay, so in CR terms, so right now I think ICICI का revenue they make is around 5,000 CR. Okay, you can double check the numbers. Okay, but what we are saying is in 5 years इनका revenue हो जाएगा around 10,000 CR. Okay, and then revenue will increase to 18,400 CR 10 years out from now using this assumption. हमने क्या किया है, हमने yield, we multiplied yield with AUM. हमने क्या किया है, we multiplied yield with AUM to estimate the revenue. This is what we did. I'm just explicitly writing it. तो ये revenue estimation हो गया. Okay? Now let's make some assumptions on the profit margin. Okay? तो profit margin अगर हम बात करें, so right now the profit margin is what, 53%, right? Okay? See, in this industry, no, in this industry there are, as I said, operating leverage. Okay? यहाँ मैंने leverage किया था telescoping pricing when I took an assumption on yield reduction. ठीक है, नाउ यहां पे मैं आई एम गोइंग टू लेवरेज द ऑप्टिंग लेवरेज वाला कॉन्सेप्ट. कि टेलीस्कोपिक प्राइसिंग की वजह से यील्ड कम हुआ और ऑपरेटिंग लेवरेज की वजह से देयर विल बी एन इंक्रीज इन मार्जिन. ओके, सो आई एम अज्यूमिंग कि मार्जिन परहैप्स बिकम्स व्हाट 57%. यू कैन feel free to challenge me on that. In your model you can take a higher or lower pat, because right now I'm doing a high in the sky estimation, and I'm assuming, let's say by 10 years out, their overall profitability would be 61%. And let me tell you, ICICI is already at 61% right now. Okay, so in this industry you have the benefit of operating leverage playing out, and that is what I've assumed कि इनके साथ भी यही होगा. Okay, probably there are because of operating leverage the margin may be much more than what I'm assuming. Okay, again I'm doing a very high in the sky estimation. Okay, so ये profitability आ गई. Now all we can do is we can just estimate the profitability in CR would be 57% of revenue. So ये आपका profitability हो गया. Okay, and then same चीज यहाँ पे, profitability 10 years out would be 61% of revenue. So it would be, so the profitability will grow from 5,800 to around over 11,000 CR over 10 years. Okay, ये हो गया. Now ये तो profitability भी आ गया. So we have all the ingredients now. So fair PE multiple की अब बात कर लेते हैं. So what I am saying is the fair PE right now as per my assumption is 33. Okay, 33 times earnings. मैं assume कर रहा हूं कि there will be a de-rating. Okay, you see, PE multiples, you cannot just assume कि they'll re-rate and expand over time. because the bulk of the growth has already been priced in. So I'm taking a conservative assumption कि probably the PE will go down over time. Again, you feel free to change it. ठीक है? This is my assumption कि PEs would, let's say, go down to 30 over time. And then again, they will go to 27 over time. So there will be a 3 का reduction हुआ, again 3 का reduction यहाँ पे हो गया. Again, this is also an assumption कि PEs would go down over time. आप कोई भी मेच्योर इंडस्ट्रीज, मेच्योर बिजनेस मॉडल्स उठा लो, यू वुड सी कि टिपिकली ना किसी भी मेच्योर इंडस्ट्री में ना या मेच्योर कंपनीज में और लॉन्ग पीरियड्स ऑफ टाइम के मल्टीपल्स नीचे हो जाते हैं. ओके, और अभी तो वैसे भी फुली प्राइस इन है ये. ओके, सो मैंने ये assumption लिया है. अगर आप डिसएग्री करते हो तो आप वो मल्टीपल ले लो, कोई और मल्टीपल ले लो, एनी विच वेज. सो नाउ यूजिंग दिस लेट मी कंप्यूट द वैल्यूएशन. तो वैल्यूएशन क्या हुआ? फेयर वैल्यूएशन 30 times 5816. Okay, so this would be इतना, और अगेन मल्टीप्लाइंग 27 बाय प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. मैंने क्या किया है? व्हाट आई डिड इज आई मल्टीप्लाइड पैट विथ my belief of the fair PE. मैंने कोई, and I know this is high in the sky math. Okay, that's how I got the fair valuation. And right now, at least the valuation that they are requesting is 1070 CR terms, man. This is all CR. Okay, so now if I compute the return, ये तो valuation हो गया as per this high in the sky math. Now if I compute the estimate return over 5 years, तो return कितना होगा? FY30 का valuation divided by अभी करंट वैल्यूएशन, रिक्वेस्टेड वैल्यूएशन. तो CAGR जो है, so the return that potentially could make is 10% over 5 years using these high in the sky assumptions. And if I compute the return that you could potentially make using these high in the sky assumptions would be FY35 का valuation divided by base valuation, parent valuation. So the return over the 10-year period you can make is 11%. So anyways, this is the return that you could expect over a 5-year and 10-year stretch, of course, using these high in the sky assumptions. Okay. Now, see, HDFC, the dividend yield is what? 1.5 to 2%. So assuming 1.5% dividend yield as well, the total return that you could expect over a 5-year stretch is capital appreciation, which is 10% plus dividend. Yeah. So this is the 5-year ka return. 5-year return is 11 point, around just under 12%. And then same thing here. Okay, you could expect over a 10-year period, you could expect a return of 12.5%, including dividend and capital appreciation. Okay, which is this line item. Let me highlight it. Okay, क्या हो गया? Now, in fact, let me use a different color. Okay, see, if you believe that probably HDFC, ICICI will have a higher margin, higher profit margin 10 years, 5 years out, probably they'll be at 60. So if you do that, yes, of course, you will earn a higher return. And probably you think by 10 years, okay, they will have a profit margin of 65%. Okay, because ICICI already is at 61%. Okay, so you think because of operating leverage playing out in this industry, they'll have a 65% ka margin or higher. So of course, you'll have a higher return. Of course, you can play with this. Okay? And then you also believe that probably my market share estimates are conservative. ICICI may be able to grab a higher share, let's say 15%. Okay? Then of course, that's going to reflect very positively in your return as well. So if ICICI is able to increase their share to 15% from 13% today over a 5-year and 10-year stretch, then of course you could make a return of 16% or 15% over a 5 and 10-year stretch. Okay, so you know what I'm doing right now. Okay, see, my larger point is the return that you could make, okay, is of course a function of what market share ICICI can grab over 5 and 10 year in the future. एक तो ये है. So that's of course is your key monitorable, as I was saying. जैसे मैंने यहाँ बताया था कि आपका market share key monitorable है. Then, of course, your key monitorable is what portion of equity is in your AUM. Overall yield is a key monitorable. तो ये जो yield है, ये भी key monitorable है. And then, of course, profitability. अगर profitability operating leverage की वजह से increase होती है, then it's going to reflect in your return expectation as well. So I'm going to giving you hooks that you can play with. Okay, the key monitorables that you can play with to compute your return in the future. Okay, so hope you find this helpful. Okay, I know I skimmed a lot of details. उससे video बड़ा हो जाता. Okay, so I confined myself to some high in the sky assumptions. Okay, so hope this was helpful, but please do not just use these assumptions at face value. You have to do your own assessment, your own research in computing the fair multiple and the return expectation for ICICI. Okay, but hope this was helpful. Thank you. If you're a budding investor interested in learning thorough fundamental analysis and valuation, or if you're an aspiring equity research analyst, financial analyst, or a consultant who's interested in learning these skills to get into such roles, okay, then I have a program suited to your needs. Okay? In my equity research and valuation learning program, I cover quality and well-researched content. I cover diverse industry business models. Okay, and I have a growing community. Okay. So, and I also have the list of topics which I cover, which on the slide, which will help you become a well-rounded, thorough analyst. All right. So get in touch if you interested in learning more details about this program. All right. Thank you.